Sometimes it's so awesome to cruise around in life, but a lot of the times, we always want to be in a position where we can be completely in control of our own destiny. And while sometimes it's great to have somebody push you in life, but I think there's a lot of times when we have to really know what we want so that we can be independent, so that we can eat whatever we want, we can drink whatever we want, and we can shop, we can get whatever we want. All of these things are the pleasures of life. But sometimes independence can be quite controversial. And there's a girl that's made that controversial decision to be independent, and she's actually paused her education for a period of time so that she can really discover what her independence is. So let's discover who she is today, and I'm super excited to bring her into the studio so that we can all talk to her. Let's go.
Competing with 39,500 applicants from all over the world, this girl has won a scholarship valued at 7 billion Vietnamese đồng, offered by the most prestigious school in the world, Harvard University. Here she comes, our special guest of this episode, Nguyễn, Đình, nữ. Next on our IELTS On the Go journey, we will get back to the Red River Delta, to Hưng Yên province to be exact. Let's see how the youngsters from Hưng Yên show their ability of speaking English. And of course, you can't miss the handy tips, the valuable vocabulary and idioms from our IELTS expert, our British consul, Daniel Ruel. An episode full of cool things and excitement awaits. First, let's get to the studio and face off our special guest.
When it comes to being independent, the mind must overcome whatever is around you or us. And I think our guest today has really made a big decision to be her own independent person, as well as to be her own independent thinker, regardless of potentially how her peers may think, or regardless of how society might tend to think. So I'm very excited today to be able to actually shed a little bit of light into her thoughts and what her views and opinions on the world, as well as her independence is. So thank you, nữ, for coming by.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, your name is actually very unique.
Yes.
A lot of the times it's people's surname, but for you it's your first name.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit more about why your parents gave you this name?
Well, when my father named me nữ, he wasn't thinking about the surname, he was thinking about the meaning of the word nữ, which is basically granddaughter or female descendant. So he gave me the name Nguyễn, Đình, nữ, basically to tell me and remind me that regardless of where I am, I carry my name with me and thus carry my family history with me. I will always be the granddaughter of my family.
And with regards to independent, what's more important to you, right? Is it the memorabilia of thought, or is it memorabilia of things?
Perhaps of thoughts. I feel thoughts to be something much more personal because things can be manufactured by someone else. They have an external origin, but for thoughts, I feel them to be much more internal and much more personal.
That's great. And when you found out that you got into Harvard, are you excited about Harvard, or do you think this is kind of like a burden that you have to drag along with you?
Both, actually. Both. Because I feel like I've been given such a tremendous gift, and whenever you're given a gift, you also feel a sense of indebtedness. I feel very much indebted to Harvard. At the same time, I acknowledge that it is like a magnificent opportunity, really, truly beautiful. Like, I can't even begin to imagine the people that I will meet, the kind of ideas that we get to exchange. Whatever it is I want to do, whatever I'm passionate about, whether it is changing the education system or to write poetry or make films, Harvard has the people and the resources for it. It feels like being given a genie, that grants you all the wishes. That's what it feels like for me.
Now, when you decided that you were going to take a gap year from your university, did your parents agree?
My father was resigned to the fact that, she wants to take a gap year, so be it. There's nothing I can say that will change her mind. He's very reasonable and resigned. But my mother was like, no, don't do it. You're not going to do it. I won't allow it. But my parents, they have their differences of opinions, but I did what I wanted to do anyway. And they've come to really accept the fact of my being here.
A lot of our audience is wondering what you will be studying at Harvard. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
So I don't have to declare my major until the second year, but I'm thinking about philosophy, or there's this Harvard-specific major. They call it Visual and Environmental Studies, where you study media and film and the kind of cultural ecology that it creates throughout the world. And I find that to be a very, very fascinating field of studies. And it is at the intersection between the arts and the social sciences and the everything, and the technology and pretty much everything that I hold to be valuable tools in order to navigate this world is encompassed in that major, in that concentration. Because I want to study philosophy and films at school, I'm taking this gap year in order to explore the art scene, in Vietnam, what people are doing and what kind of things they are observing, and just really getting to know this country in a deeper and more personal way that I never had the chance to explore when I was still in school.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wish you all the best in your gap year, and I'm super excited to know all the amazing things that you will do in the next years to come. So moving forth, when it comes to talking about independence, maybe share with our audience a couple of terms or a couple of concepts that you view as very important about this notion.
First of all, accountability. This is something that you can use for yourself, or you can use within the context of teamwork within a community. Whenever you say that you're going to do something and people expect you to do it, you better do it. You should feel responsible for your actions. You should be aware of the consequences of your action and be considerate towards others. Others here is not just other people, but others as in other beings, other plants, other animals. Another thing that is important for independence is confidence. Confidence in yourself and confidence in others. In other words, trust. Sometimes in order to trust yourself and to trust others, you really have to have just certain bravery in order to jump past some kind of doubt or fear. It is extremely important to have confidence because it carries your actions forward, and it creates a solid sort of center for everything that you do. It solidifies your core values in order for you to determine what actions you would take next, and etc., etc. The final thing I think is important for independence is love. Love is what ties it all together. You become responsible, you become trustful, you have faith, and most of all, when you have love, when you love, there's an emotional dimension to things that you do. You don't just rationalize your actions, and you don't just think about what is the most beneficial for other things, and etc., etc.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually very curious to know who your teachers are, because I've seen you read a lot. You actually quote a lot of authors and poets. Are your teachers people in books, or is your teacher yourself? Is your teacher your parents? Who were your teachers?
For me, teachers aren't just people, and I find everything an opportunity to learn. And given that, I would describe my teacher is life. I see someone preparing a bowl of noodle with such care and attention, and it teaches me about loyalty and affection. So the act of preparing a bowl of noodle is my teacher. And if I were to name some people who are influential in my life, there would be so many, just to name a few off the top of my head. My parents, of course, my brother and my sister-in-law, they've taught me about love and living together, all those important things that you need to learn in order to become a person in this world.
Mm-hmm. And I think for sure it's very important for us to become people before we can actually be independent. We have to love who we are. We have to be confident, as you said, about who we are. For now, I want to actually ask you to help me participate in the IELTS challenge.
Okay.
And we're both going to do something together.
Okay.
We're going to find out really soon.
Okay.
All right. So guys, IELTS challenge coming right up next. Coming up for the IELTS challenge is a storytelling session. I love this storytelling session because we're going to be able to test each other's imaginations. There's one more rule. It's that our sentences have to begin with the word that the other person left off. So shall we start?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, I'll start. This morning, the sun shone through my window blinds, allowing me to open my eyes after a restless night's sleep.
Sleep. What an enigmatic thing. Sometimes I don't even know whether I'm sleeping or dying.
Dying can have such a scary connotation. But to me, why are people so afraid of dying? It's just a state of a physical being. Who knows, when you die, your brain might live on forever.
Forever or eternity. These are just such abstract concepts because all we can experience is the now. How do we know that now is not eternity? I'm so confused by the concept of time.
Time sometimes is just tick-tocks on the clock, and eternity is just like a loop that goes round and round and round and round. And time and eternity are sometimes just concepts artificially created by you and I.
I just noticed that it is now 8:30 and I'm late for work.
Oh, this is hard. Work is something that I do enjoy very much. One day, I met this boy at work. He was quite cute. He had a tie.
Ties. I think they are such boring accessories, but it really makes me appreciate the kind of adornments that a woman can have.
Having something is very different from not having something. But sometimes a woman wants too much. And when it comes to this guy that I saw, I want him to be mine.
Mine as in my arms and understanding my feelings and cooking me meals every morning and driving me to work. Like this morning, because I'm late for work and I don't know how to get to work.
The end.
The end. Wow, that was such an abstract story. That was like Fernando Pessoa mixed with Franz Kafka and maybe Chung too.
Yes, a little bit of In the Mood for Love as well. Guys, what did you think of that story? Comment on our Facebook and YouTube channel and let us know what you think. All right, so thanks a lot for coming by. Tonu, it's been a pleasure having you. I love having these conversations, and I think that, you being here has really helped to kickstart that conversation on the show. We don't have a lot of that. And I hope that moving forth, you'll be able to have more and more of these conversations with more people.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed being here as well. And you've been a very graceful host to me.
Thank you. And guys, don't go away because our next section is the IELTS Expert section. So stay tuned. IELTS Expert coming right up next.
Oh, we have our lovely Khánh Vi back to her journey to the Red River Delta. Here comes Hưng Yên province and the young students from Hưng Yên. Be curious about their sharing about studying English and IELTS, and of course, be curious for the one who will be chosen as Voice of the Week to face off down the well in the speaking cast room. Stay right there. Next part of the show comes right now.